welcome you back as our coverage of National Signing Day continues on the Razorback Sports Network, SEC Network Plus. Pleased to welcome Razorback offensive lineman, associate head coach Sam Pittman. And Quinn says like Christmas morning, a little bit earlier for Coach. You get to unwrap all those presents today.
Well, it is. You know, we've been fortunate because we had so many guys come in at Christmas, you know. But, yeah, it's always an exciting day and not too many surprises this year, so it was a little less hectic this year. But, yeah, it's always a fun day.
All right, we've got a lot of video that we're going to head into as we move through this segment. Now, Coach Pittman, part of his territory is Oklahoma, and one of the young men from Oklahoma that's becoming a Razorback, terrific tight end, Austin Cantrell.
Yeah, really good player. Barry Lunny basically recruited Austin. He's in my area, but Barry found him and did a nice job of recruiting him. And you know, he came in here last spring. All we wanted to do is see him in person. He came in, he's a full-grown man, and this year they started using him more as a running back, and certainly helped their football team. They had a great football team. This young man won a state in the shot put last year, threw it 58-something last year, and so I think he's certainly wanting to hit that 60-foot mark this year. I imagine he will. Quick story on him, he taught himself how to throw the shot put on YouTube. And I thought that was pretty cool to become a state champion. But anyway, he's watching guys on YouTube. So we're going to pull up YouTube highlights for him here on the football team. But no, he's just a great kid, great parents from a little small town, you know, over there by Fort Smith, just on the other side of the line, Fort Smith. But Coach Lundy's one who recruited him, did a great job.
You know, just incredible strength. I mean, you talk about a self-taught shot putter. Imagine what he could be like when you get him in that weight room for a couple of years.
Yeah, you know, he came in here and was at camp this summer as well, and we really knew we had something special in him, not only as a player but as a person. Just really good kid, fine folks.
All right, next we are going to head down to the Sunshine State. Terrific offensive lineman. Hogs very happy to have Josh Allen out of Jacksonville.
You know, Josh had Georgia and North Carolina, had a bunch of teams offer him a scholarship. Came by us by a different way, but we don't have time to talk about that right now. But as you can see, he's very athletic, very strong, can really move, a wonderful pass protector. I think he was a Max Preps All-American last year. A guy that just kind of called and said, "Hey, Coach, I think I've made it academically. I want to come over there," and he certainly did. And we're just really happy he's already here, obviously. And this is a guy that's going to be a special player. I think he can play center or guard for us. As you can see, he really has a natural ability to roll his hips, and you'll see on here, you never see him on the ground. And that's one of the key things you see when you watch offensive linemen. You want to see if they can stay on their feet. That means they're athletic enough to play in this league. The only time we really like them off their feet is whenever they're on top of somebody, and we don't mind it at that point. But, you know, as you saw that tape on him, everything he did, he's knocking guys down, but he was actually staying on his feet, and that is such a key ability in balance. So we think he's going to play center for us. We think he can play guard for us. You know, in our recruiting, we have 7 guys 6'5" or taller in our 2 deep. So we're fine as long as we continue to get some height. We can place people where we need to place them at the tackle spot and different things. So I wasn't too concerned about that. We obviously wanted to take the best players we could get.
You know, Quinn, you played behind some great offensive linemen at Arkansas. I'm struck not just on this highlight, but on so many of them, the athleticism.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at him, you watch what he can do. There were a couple of times on tape when I was watching tape, I've seen him escort the running back down the field. He's escorted him down, I mean, and running just as fast. I saw him do it on a kickoff return. He's a guy that's got great feet, great ability. He's very physical, and man, you could really notice what he's going to do. He was, like Coach talked about, he would knock somebody down, stay on his feet, and continue to look for more people. That's what you want. I mean, he has the great ability, and I'm glad he's a Hog.
Well, another good one's Jalen Merrick. Arkansas plucked him out of Florida. And, Coach, let's talk a little bit about him as we watch the highlights.
Well, as you'll see up there on top, I'm standing there watching the game.
Yeah.
You can see it up there. But we shouldn't have watched that because Merrick just took somebody 20 yards down the field. But He is huge. I knew we wanted him, and then in the first 2 reps of the game when I went and watched him live, I said, okay, Lord, please help us get this kid. And of course, you know, our reputation with Coach Bielema and all those things, and you know, we certainly have a lot of help recruiting O-linemen here, a lot of past history, but this kid is, I think he's a tackle, and so we're going to play him at tackle. He's certainly, if you look at him right off the hook, you look at him and you say, this kid is an SEC guard. You're looking at a 6'4", 340-pound kid. As you can see, very light on his feet. He's had a 31-inch vertical jump at some Spark Combine or something this summer. So he was a basketball player, and then the last 2 years he decided to play football. And so we went out to New Smyrna and, you know, had to beat all the Florida schools out there and everybody. And just really good, really good kid.
Well, before we head to some more highlights, I want to ask you for a second. You've acquired the reputation as being a straight shooter out on the recruiting trail. How important is that when you go out and you recruit a young man?
Well, it's very important to all of us, but whenever we say something to somebody, it has to come true. It has to. We can't sell dreams. We have to sell reality, and it comes with hard work, and it comes with a correct depth chart and all. Most of the guys that we sign don't worry too much about who you have on the guys that worry about who you have on the depth chart, usually we don't get. Usually they go somewhere else because we're going to tell them exactly what the truth is. I told Jalen, I said, we've got good players on the O-line. We've got good young players, but we need more. And so I think as long as you do that, as long as you get kids that fit into your room, guys that want to be told the truth. You have to recruit guys that want to be told the truth, and then we're going to treat them like a man, and then we're going to expect them to be that way. So I think that helps us in recruiting, and along with Coach Bielema's reputation, and we've certainly put a lot of guys in the National Football League. You know, we can't put a mule in the Kentucky Derby. We got to have some. We got to have talent. You know, so that's where we're going out to get. You know.
Quinn, you had a lot of coaches sit across the couch from you and say a lot of things out there. And you said this earlier, and I think it's interesting. Players have a way of weeding through the nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you've got great parents, I mean, they'll help you work through the process as well. And I know the coaches really understand that. But when you look a man in the eye, you know, across from you in your living room, and you can tell if he's being sincere and really wants to take care of you. I mean, you can come to a school and understand there's going to be competition. You're going to have to fight for playing time. I mean, that's one of those things. But, you know, being upfront about it and, you know, really having that opportunity to work with great coaches gives you an opportunity to get better. Coach talked about putting people in the NFL. People understand that, and they know that, hey, if they come here, they're going to have a great opportunity if they're offensive linemen to do some great things.
All right, Coach, our last highlight that I want to get you to comment on is Jeremiah Ledbetter. We'll go to the defensive side of the ball, young man out of Orlando.
Yeah, really good player. 16 sacks this year, led the Jayhawk Conference. One of my great friends is the head coach over there, Ryan Rhodes. I recruited Ryan. He's the head coach. Recruited him when I was there. Ryan certainly helped us tremendously get this young man from Orlando. Very physical player, can do a standing backflip, has done it several times since he's been here. Weight room warrior, a guy that can really run, is going to help with the immediate need with the loss of a couple of guys on the D-line last year. But just a solid person. His two sisters are both great athletes, great track athletes. His daddy played at the University of Oklahoma fullback. Dad went to CBC where Armand Watts and Brian Wallace are from. And but this young man here, we had to fight some really good schools on him, but he committed to us and stayed loyal to us, and we appreciate him for that, and Coach Rhodes obviously at Hutch for helping us.
Quinn, I think I saw 6'3", 271, and Coach said standing backflip. You don't see that every day.
That's a quarterback's nightmare. I mean, when you got a guy that can do that kind of stuff, I mean, he's going to cause some problems for you, and you just don't really want to be on the end of one of those backflips. He has the ability to block shed, make tackles. And, you know, you talk about in the SEC building those lines from inside out like we do here with offensive and defensive lines. It's always great to be able to have two deep that can rotate and play. And, boy, I tell you, we continue to add great talent.
Coach, you hear that term lineman's mentality. Is that one of the things you look for when you're out there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're the guys that aren't going to get a lot of hype. They're, you know, they got to have be self-motivators because, you know, it's hard in there. You know, you got guys coming from both sides and in the front, and you got sometimes two coming in the same gap. It's a difficult life, but here they're treated. You know, they fly first class. Shoot, they're as fancy as a quarterback around this place.
Coach, always good to visit with you. Thanks so much for being here. Sam Pittman, offensive line coach, one of the really terrific recruiters on this staff. Now, coming up, Rob Smith's going to be here, the defensive coordinator. We're going to talk to him, but as we head to the break, you've heard a lot about Hjelte Froholt, and if I'm mispronouncing that, you'll have to forgive me, from Svendborg, Denmark. Let's go to the tape.